Hey folks, it's Michael Boink. Welcome back to my channel. In previous videos, I took you through on a tour of our 2008 Toyota Sienna that we've turned into a camper van. And then in that video, I mentioned that we were moving off of the Sienna platform to the Suburban platform. So the last video was comparing those two platforms and just the pluses and minuses. Kind of showed you that the Sienna is actually a bit bigger to build into than the Suburban. But for us, it's the ground clearance and the four-wheel drive that are kind of making us jump. And just to be able to camp in a bit more rustic spots, hopefully a little more away from crowds. So what I want to do in this video is talk about why we chose this generation of Suburban, and then why I picked this one specifically. And I'll take you through what we've done to it so far. It looks relatively stock, but we've actually done a fair number of things to it already. And I'll talk briefly about the direction I'm going to go with it. So this is a 2000 Chevy Suburban. This is the first year for what they call the GMT 800 platform. I've also seen it called the new body style. So yes, 25 years old, it's the new, and then the next generation was the new body style, creative. The reason I went with this generation, so they made these from 2000 to 2006. And what I liked about this generation was, well, there were a few things. So a big one is in the older Suburbans, the spare tire was inside the vehicle. So in that nice big rear, cargo area that you want to use to build out your camper in, you've got this big spare tire sitting there taking up a lot of room. These tires are like 32 inches tall by 12, so they're big and they're heavy, and it's a big chunk of your space already kind of taken up. So in this generation, they moved the spare tire under the rear of the vehicle. So out of the inside, under the rear, and yeah, it's a bit vulnerable there if you're going to do some hardcore off-roading, but just the convenience of having that space back is important. So that's why I like the older ones. In 2007, the new body style, to me, the Suburban became much more of a SUV and less of a truck. To me, I like this as a truck. A lot of the bumpers and grille and body parts are the same as the Silverado, same as the Avalanche, same as the Yukons and the Tahoes, but it's very similar to and very closely related to the Silverados and Sierras. And I like that. I like having a truck for this purposes versus an SUV. The other thing is this generation is just well favored. There's lots of parts available. Yeah, there's a million of these trucks on the road. I don't know if you've had this, like you buy a new car and suddenly you see that car everywhere. This is like more than any other vehicle I've purchased and owned. These things are just everywhere. And lastly for me is I owned a similar year Silverado. And that's what, when we were full-time RVers, that's what we drove. And I just love that truck. I fit well in it. So this is only 2 years difference. A lot of the same things I did to that truck, I'm doing to this truck. So it was just a comfortable purchase for me. All right, so having said that, like, why this specific truck? So I was looking for 2000, 2006, in that range somewhere. And honestly, I wanted a cream puff. I just wanted something really well kept. I didn't want to have to start off my build with body work or lots of mechanical repairs. And I was also looking for this is the 2500, so this is the 3/4 ton four-wheel drive version of this truck. So they're a little fewer and farther between than the half-ton versions. But I wanted a truck that somebody had just really well kept. And when I saw this one come up, the paint was shiny. There were no tears in the seats. Those two things for me are kind of tells, as to how well somebody has maintained the vehicle. If they've kept it shiny, if they've kept the seats well repaired, they've probably done a good job with the rest of the vehicle. The only thing with this truck is it has fewer than 200,000 miles on it. It's got about 175,000 miles on it. And for a 25-year-old vehicle, to me, that's pretty low mileage yet. And then the big one this was just 2 hours away. So I was looking nationwide and willing to ship something if it came along, but I think shipping a vehicle, I didn't get any formal quotes, but I always figure $1,000 to $1,500 to get a vehicle that's, several states away. And plus just the hassle of finding a shipper and working with it and hope they don't damage the vehicle in transit. This one was 2 hours away. We could drive it, check it out. We took it to another location and had a mechanic go through it and just look for anything that wasn't obviously visible that it needed in the way of repairs. They came back, they found some stuff, but it wasn't anything that bothered me. It was just, like the differential fluid needs to be changed, the transfer case fluid needs to be changed, the stuff kind of that any vehicle, any truck that you buy at 25 years old, you're probably going to do. So it was in the right price range. So I paid $11,000 for this. I'll just be upfront about that. I think for the condition that it's in and what we've done to it, I've improved it a little bit, and we'll go through that here, what I've done to it since I bought it. But I honestly think I could flip it for a little bit of a profit. I've seen a couple nicer ones than this go on, bring a trailer. One went for $18,500. And then I saw one that had 20,000 miles on it or something, that went for $40,000. So there are people out there that love these trucks and want to buy them. And I think there's still a demand for even the ones that, that's above what the NADA guys will tell you the truck should be worth, but that's what the market will sell them for. So we drove 2 hours away. We drove the truck, took it to a mechanic, had it gone through, decided we liked it. It was at a used car lot, so we just we paid cash and drove it home. So that's been a couple months now. So now let me kind of take you through kind of what we've done to it so far. So this is, we kind of started the build already, but there's nothing been added to it that makes it look more like a camper or an overlander. It's more just kind of fixing things and getting it prepped for the actual overlanding build. All right, so we'll go mobile. So front of the truck. All of the headlights, turn signals, and fog light lenses got replaced. They're pretty inexpensive with this generation of vehicles, and it just makes such a huge difference to get rid of those faded, nasty old headlights. It just makes the truck look 10 years newer, honestly. I repainted tow hooks, so they just had a little rustiness to them. I found that this middle grill section actually had a broken out section on one end. So I did the inexpensive sort of, what's that saying? Turn a cow's ear into a silk purse sort of deal. I just matched the section on the other side, snipped it out, and put these little lights in there. They're not actually wired up. They're just kind of there to fill that gap. But I actually like how it looks. It gives a little bit of a municipal vehicle vibe. I added the hood deflector. I think there's actually one on there before because all the mounting things were already there. The main reason for that is there's a dent on the hood right on the nose. It's kind of like the first thing you notice on the truck, so it kind of covers that up. All right, and then what else did we do on the front here? Well, I'll do windshield wipers. That's really easy. I replaced the radio antenna. For some reason, it was just totally gone. And I replaced the under hood light with it's an LED version. The original one wasn't working. The LED version was just a little more expensive, so we did that. It's a nice bright light when you open it up. And there were some missing clips. You've got just this plastic cowl here. There's some clips that hold that into the sheet metal that were missing, so I replaced those as well. Let's look at the side here. Probably the very first thing I did was, and it's very common, that chrome door trim on this era. All these vehicles that use that trim, it all peels over time. So I replaced all of that trim. I actually photoshopped what it would look like without that black molding altogether, but didn't like that, so I left it and just replaced the chrome. I debadged it. So The doors had badges, the rear had badges. And those badges over time will just weather and wear. And I actually think it looks way cleaner without them. So pulled all the badges off. I did some spray painting on the frame just to kind of tidy that up. And then added the window deflectors. I guess that's a little bit of an overland addition there, just so you can get some fresh air coming through in the rain. I did some painting up on the roof rack too. There was just some weather-related issues up there going on to just freshen that up. All right, so then let's look at the back. Same thing, debadged. Kind of buffed up the taillights, got them looking good again. It came with a hitch, a drawbar in the hitch. That, of course, had a locking pin, but no key for the lock, so I had to have a neighbor help me cut that off. And then I found a little step that plugs in the receiver hitch, because as I'm going in and out of the truck, it's just tall enough that having a little hitch helps. And then, new spare tire. I found the spare tire was 9 years old, so we put a new spare tire under it. I spent 2 days on the paint, so I went over it with polishing compound and then a good wax job. So really, it's actually like a cloudy day here today, and it's actually dirty since I've done that, but it just cleaned up. Super, super nice. What else did we do? I think that's about it from the outside. If something comes up, I'll throw it in. From an inside perspective, I'll flip us around here. I pulled out all the seats, and that may be been a bit premature, but I just needed them out so I could measure and visualize how to turn this into a camper. I got rid of those actually really quickly on Facebook Marketplace. I threw them out just for free. I just wanted them gone, and boy, I had a feeding frenzy. Could have given away 9 sets of those seats, I think. I've done all of the interior lights are now LED. They're quite bright. I don't know if you can see it in this shot, but it's, literally a night and day difference. And I bought those from a place called Precision LED. There's a lot of kits on Amazon and for like $30 or something. But if you read the reviews, there's a lot of comments like these worked great for 3 months and then they burn out. So Precision, it was like $130, I think, but they have a lifetime warranty. So if they burn out, no charge. So, and they seem pretty high quality too. Like, I also heard issues of people replacing all the lights, and if they all came on, it was great. But if they only wanted like one on, it didn't come on all the way because the electrical load just wasn't right. So these work flawlessly. One or all, doesn't matter. So you can go up front here. New floor mats. I found 2 vehicle-specific mounts for nav and phones. So there's one here that ties in. So there's a bezel around the dash you pull off, and there were screws back there it tied into. That one's really, really nice and secure. Same thing here. There's another bolt back there it ties into. I'm not sure if this is 100% the setup yet because I've got a GPS that's about a 7-inch screen, and then the phone as it sticks up. I think you can see I've kind of dropped this one down to give myself some more room between them. I think it'll work, but we may have to do some tweaking there. The truck came with a really nice, it's a Kenwood Garmin head unit from about 12 years ago, so it'll actually play DVDs and CDs, and it would do satellite radio and all of that. And it's been professionally installed. I can tell when I look under the hood, it's been very well installed. Let's see, I think that's about it up front. This door speaker wasn't working. I got that working again. There's the amplifier they put in. That was a great spot when you have a seat there, but it's going to obviously be in our way as a camper, so that's going to have to get moved into whatever cabinetry I build in this space. There's also, we can't see it in this angle, there's a factory subwoofer in the back corner there too. That was blown, and I replaced that. Oh, there was an aftermarket alarm on this truck when I bought it. Oh, let me pop you up here. So this truck came with an aftermarket alarm system, and In researching it, I couldn't find that it was still in business anymore. And it started to act weird, so I would like go to unlock the truck and it would beep 4 or 5 times. It was trying to tell me something, but I just don't know what. So I didn't trust it because, our plan is to be out with this thing camping somewhere somewhat remote, right? And I don't want this, aftermarket alarm system going wiggy on me, down a 2-track road somewhere and getting in the way of me being able to start the truck. There are actually a couple times where I went to turn the key and there was nothing, and I had to shut everything down, open and close some doors, and then it kind of came back. So it worried me enough that I actually brought it to a stereo shop here in town, and they were able to pull that alarm system out. And then I replaced the key fobs. I got some original replacement ones to use there again. Just trying to remember if there's anything else we've done. So it's been a lot of just kind of cosmetic, cleaning it up, fixing things that just kind of catch your eyes, being an old vehicle, and that's where we're at so far. Actually, I bought some sound deadening. So I realized it would never, once I build it up, I've got all kinds of stuff in here. So if I wanted to try to do anything to quiet the ride down, now would be the time. So I bought some acoustic sound deadening to put in the truck, and then it got too cold to install it. So that's all sitting in the apartment, waiting for warmer weather. And my next steps are now there's two main directions I've got to go. One is to get all of the other fluids kind of changed out and refreshed. So coolant, power steering, differentials, transfer case. I can't tell if that stuff's been done. It didn't come up in the Carfax. So I'm going to find a local shop to do all that for me. And then otherwise, the next thing is to actually start the build out. I decided, I'll probably hit this more deeply in another video. But there's basically two ways you can go with a build out. You can do it using wood, which is what I did in the Sienna. I just used standard, lumberyard wood, 2x4s and 1/2-inch plywood and standard stuff. The other option now is 80/20 aluminum. So it's the square struts of aluminum that have the slots in them, and then all the little angled pieces and end pieces. It's almost like an erector set for adults. And I think that's what I'm going to do with this, because it'd just be easier to put that together, easier to cut it. You can order it to size, but that construction approach, living in this downtown apartment, I think is going to be easier. So I'm about ready. I've got an idea for what I want to do, and about ready to start ordering the parts for that. So I'll set you back down here. So that's kind of where we're at. Talked about why Suburban, why this generation, why this one, where we're at with it. And I think in the next video we'll talk about the floor plan that I'm looking at, and then the construction materials, like I mentioned a little bit, and just basically how we're going to go through that process and how we're going to surmount the challenges of doing that work in a parking garage at an apartment complex. So that'll be next time. For now, from a cloudy, a little bit chilly day in Tulsa, thanks for watching.